All right, gentlemen, we are live. What's going on, fellas?
Hey now, how you doing, man? Feeling good. Today is another beautiful day.
All
Yes, sir.
right. All right. Today's August the 8th, 2022. Sports Brothers Show. Today we're going to cover the NBA and we'll cover the NFL midseason. Right now, as you can see in the studio, the NBA experts, Rod and E. All right, we got a lot to talk about, guys. Y'all ready to rock?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Sports Brothers Show. All right, welcome to the show. About to get it started. Please do the following. All right, gentlemen, here's the NBA segment. Rod and E, my NBA guys. We love the game. Welcome to the show. And the season's early started, but we're gonna go ahead and get our take on how things are looking at this point. So with that, E, give us your quick thoughts on what you've seen so far.
Much of nothing. That's what I've seen so far. I mean, I don't see any team, any franchise that's so dominant. Of course, we know that Milwaukee is 9-1. They they lost last night to the Hawks, and nobody want to get Hawks any props anyway. But they lost to the Hawks in Atlanta last night with Trae Young out. But let's talk about the Hawks for a minute, right? They made some crafty moves to be better than last season. And let's think about this right here. The Hawks are, I think, the only team so far this season to hold their opponent, or at least they've had 3 games where they held their opponent under 100. So, they got the Holiday kid, brother of the Olympian, who plays with the Milwaukee Bucks, world champion. It was a really good game last night in Atlanta. The crowd was into the game. The Hawks played like, we don't care if you're 9-0, you're undefeated. Nobody talk about us. But we're here, we're playing. We don't need Trae tonight. We're going to do well. And that's what they did. And again, for the Hawks, they have held their opponent under 100 points in 3 of their first 10 games. So that's good. You look at Cleveland, you look at Darius Garland in Cleveland and Donovan Mitchell, and, that's looking pretty good so far in Cleveland. But how far can they really go? We look at Chicago. Levine had 30 points last night against Toronto. They won 111-97, but, the injury up and down with Levine, and we don't know what's going to happen there. New York, Randall, Barrett, and Brunson acquisition this summer with Brunson from Dallas Mavericks, and but New York doesn't have it. Chicago doesn't really have it. Cleveland, I don't know how far they can go. Looks good though. And think about the Raptors, Scotty Barnes and Siakam. He's been hurt most of the early season, Siakam. So let's look at the West. We'll talk about the Lakers in a minute, I guess. But Denver is 7-3, and Murray is back, and so let's see what Denver is going to do. We'll talk about the Clippers in a minute, also. I guess San Antonio. I guess we'll talk about them. But Phoenix, what's Phoenix going to do? Oh, but people are saying, they know how to win. They've been there. Still yet to be proven what Phoenix can do. Indiana, Miles Turner, who's been wanting to get traded for how long? I don't know. As he has said, the Lakers need him. And Turner had 37 points last night, and he's already clocked over 1,000 career blocks in his short career. So we look down in Orlando. Outside of the rookie, Orlando is going to be just what they've been being, okay? And think about Oklahoma. Once you get past Yeti, and I think it's one other player that they may have, that make a difference if I can't think of his name right now. They're not going to do anything. Bobo, that's right, Bobo in Orlando. Bobo dunking over people, handling the break, passing the ball. Here you Bobo go. But really, how far, realistically, what is going to happen in the NBA? Yeah, we're going to watch these young guys come up, but there's really, maybe I'm missing something, but there's not really one player to look at or one dominant team that player, if there's a player that's going to take somebody somewhere. Look at the Charlotte Hornets. How far is Kelly Oubre is going to take Charlotte Hornets? What Washington Bullets going to do? Nothing. Houston Rockets, they can shoot the three. Last night they were 24-48 from the three-point line last night. You get past Jay Green and Kevin Porter Jr., what do you have? Detroit, well, Cade Cunningham, he's second-year man. He's going to be okay. But to just sit there and just marvel over any one person, I don't see it. But then now the NBA is regrouping, and maybe we can give these guys 2 or 3 more years to develop, and we'll have a lot to talk about. Meanwhile, we're just going to have to enjoy the entertainment the way it is. I don't mean to be downtrodden about the NBA this year, but as the saying goes, it is what it is when it comes down to the teams.
I got a little bit of a
different. All right, very good.
I got a little bit of a different perspective on that.
Okay.
I think that when it comes down to it, what you're seeing is parity, something we haven't saw in the league in a long time. Whereas on any given night you can be beat. Now, you said that there's nobody in the league that really standing out. I think Giannis is looking like an all-time great to me. I mean,
we've seen that. Yeah, we've seen that.
We've seen it, but we don't take it for granted. I mean, when you're talking
right, okay.
When you're talking about this guy here, this is Kevin Garnett on steroids. This guy here is amazing. I mean, and I think the Bucks are dominant. You got to understand, they're 9-1, and Middleton hasn't played at all. That's the second best player on the team. So when you bring him back in, they can be very dominant, and they're a very deep bench. When you think about the fact that the defending champions, Golden State, really there's no major injuries. They're at the bottom of the league right now. You know that they're gonna get rolling. So it's just like it's a sort of excitement where it's who's gonna really take the mantle and who's really gonna take charge and how is this season gonna flow. Because out west it's 10, 12 teams that can make the playoffs. Out east, the way these guys are playing and stepping up, I mean, I think you said it's much to do about nothing. I say it's a lot to be excited about because you got parity and it's not just so predictable. Who would have thought the Jazz would be where they are right now? It's just it's an excitement to where everything is upside down. You're seeing the changing of the guard. You're seeing new guys, younger teams. You're seeing team ball. It's not about, well, hey, I got the best superstar, I got the biggest name, so we're gonna win. You seeing teams that don't have a superstar at all, and they running through people. So I think that's something to be excited about.
When we talk about parity, and you're absolutely right. When we talk about parity, we talk about parity at both ends of the spear. You got parity up here where you have the teams, they can compete, and you got parities down here. And when you don't, I'm going old school now, when you don't see that dominant team or dominant 2 or 3 teams, right? You look at parity in a different way. For those of you people that's looking at this now tonight for the first time, when we talk about that word parity, we used to talk about the parity of the Lakers, the Celtics, and Detroit Pistons. You just kind of knew those teams going to be there. And that's what I'm talking about when we use the word parity, which I didn't use, but you used, and that's okay. But again, I'm talking about old school, what we're used to. Man, undoubtedly, we know who Giannis is. The dude, in my opinion, I'm looking at him last night, And I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, this is real. This dude is playing, and I'm saying the same thing. Where is Middleton? Is Middleton still out? Oh, that's why the Hawks kicking on them. But remember, injuries are part of it. I actually picked them at the end to win the championship last year, right? And yes, parity here and parity there. And I see parity on the bottom scale right now because of what I've been used to seeing over the years. You know how we watched the Warriors over the past few years, the way they dominated. And then, we saw Boston on the rise and we saw the goodness with them. And that's the part of that end of the parity that I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is it. But to just stand out, your parody is talking about what we see right now and where it's going to go. I'm saying what I see right now that's not that exciting to me. The only thing exciting to me is that I love the game of basketball. It has a possibility of being that this season, and I anticipate that it's going to get better. We know it won't. It doesn't really get better till maybe after Christmas, coming up on the All-Star break. I look forward to that, and then maybe they'll be into the parody that I know, the parody that I like from an old school player.
Yeah. Hey, Rod, do you want to knock out your top 5?
Yeah. Let's get into this top 5. Okay. So I got number 1. We just discussed them. We got the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 2, Cleveland. Go you. Cleveland back up in the ranks, minus who. No LeBron. They doing all right. Who would have thought that out of the big 3 in Cleveland, Kevin Love, the last man standing, and he might get the last laugh. Moving on to the Suns, hey, they still trucking along. They still making some noise down there in Phoenix. So got to show them some love. 4th, we're gonna round it out with the Celtics. They're still holding tough despite losing their coach and all that stuff there, but they still bringing it game after game. And then the surprise is Utah. Utah is rounding out my top 5. That's quite a surprise. I think, let me double check. I think they're number 1 in the West. Yes, they're number 1 in the West. So, there you have it.
I like that. Flash that back up there for me. Flash it back. Give me a flashback on that. Okay. Can you flash that back up there? Let's look at that.
Yep, absolutely. So that's the top 5 right there. And man, I'm definitely impressed that you had the Jazz in there. I'm glad you have them in there. They've been doing good early in the season. So up to this point, they deserve it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. You talk.
All right, gentlemen. So with that said, now we want to get into a topic that's really hot in the NBA circles, and that's the Brooklyn Nets. They are a hot topic, and in particular, Kyrie Irving situation. So, Rod, you want to set the table on that one?
Yeah, the Kyrie situation is a situation that, while it's a basketball-related topic, I think it goes beyond basketball. It really touches all walks of life. And we're seeing the dynamics of race, culture, religion, business. You're seeing everything rolled up into one thing with this Kyrie topic. Now, if you're not familiar, we know that Kyrie, posted a link to a movie that people deem anti-Semitic. Been a lot of back and forth and controversy about that. Kyrie didn't apologize the way that they wanted him to, didn't apologize fast enough, I guess. And so, we had Charles and Shaq, call for his punishment, and Adam Silver and Joe Sadick, and they got together and they laid the hammer on him. But now, I feel like they're really piling on and they're really doing a bit too much. When you're talking about the list of things that they want him to do just to come back to the league. I think that's a bit much for just just posting a link. You know, that's way too much to me. And so you know, I'm pleased to hear that, you know, Jaylen Brown, the VP, said last night that they're going to fight this and they're going to really, you know, stand up for Kyrie. But all in all, I think that when it comes down to it, we really have to step back and look at the big picture, and let's really discuss, what did Kyrie actually do wrong? What did Kyrie actually say to deserve all of this? When you're talking about a 5-game suspension, fines, and all that, that's well over $1 million, you know, dollars, and time away from the game for a retweet. Guys have done much worse, and they've got nowhere near this level of punishment. And so he's already apologized, and now I think it's coming to, you know, they're trying to emasculate him. I think they're trying to embarrass him. I think this is what you call, you know, to use a more heated term, this is what you call breaking the buck. They trying to break the buck right here, you know, and that's a slave term, but that's what it feels like they're trying to do, and I think that they've crossed the line. Your thoughts, gentlemen? You guys are all muted. Everybody's muted. Everybody's muted.
Oh, appreciate it, Rod. I want to make sure I unmute on that. But yeah, man, situation, man, here with Kyrie. The man spoke his mind. I mean, well, let me rephrase this. He posted a tweet, right? And I ain't gonna go through the whole story again, but he tweeted a link to a movie that's on Amazon, right? And it's like, so what did he really do that's wrong? And it's something that is enlightening. So, and really, he didn't say anything. He just posted the link to the movie. And so I don't see why there's so much backlash on him on this one. And I just think that he's a target right now. You know, he is a target. And, you know, Amazon is in the works with the NBA. They're trying to get a contract done as far as like streaming. So they're going to try to stream like the NFL has that Thursday night football streaming going on. And so, you know, that because a lot of things have been brought up about, well, you know, why is, you know, no one getting on Bezos, that's his name, Jeff Bezos, and Amazon for actually airing this movie. And
who by the way, you know, a lot of people don't know this. Amazon has a Jewish CEO. Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO. I think the CEO's name is Andy Jassy, and he's a Jew. So, you know, when you get into that, on top of all of that, it's just really a lot of hypocrisy and just honestly fake outrage, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, and I think he's just more of a target right now, and maybe he's onto something, and things want to get hushed up, if you will. But I think more so there's a business in this whole thing with Amazon, and we'll find out down the line when the NBA has games streamed on Amazon next year or something like that, and that's really was the crux behind all of this. And you know, so I think that he doesn't have to. It's like treating him like a kid. Like he gotta go sit in the corner. He gotta apologize, and he gotta do all these things, quote unquote, like before he's ushered back into society. And I'll be the first to say this. You know, at one time I was hesitant of taking the COVID vaccine. You know, but I ended up taking it. You know, but I had a right either way. You know what I mean? A choice to make either way.
Absolutely.
Right. And so did Kyrie. And he received a lot of backlash for not taking it. But if you understand his position on it, well, religiously, you know, I'm not into the Muslim religion like that. But my understanding is a lot of that is based on his religion as well. And so he has strong beliefs there. And I don't think we should take that away from him, because at the end of the day, he's a human being before a basketball player. And there are some studies that say that it kind of backs why he didn't take it. And, again, that's your choice and everything. But, he got slammed for that as well. And I just think that he's a different guy. And there's a lot of people that are different in a way. And I'm not saying in a bad way. But I think when you're somebody who may kind of, buck the trend a little bit or don't just kind of go with the flow, you're going to be a target. And I think he's more of a target in this situation. That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, and I would say this, I'm disappointed in some of my heroes. I'm very surprised that Kareem's take, being that this is a guy that you sat beside Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, and you were at the summit. We're talking about Muhammad Ali, who bucked the trend, and I'm not going to Vietnam. That was like, whoa, the fact that he changed his name and decided to be Muslim in a Christian society, that bucked the trend, and Kareem stood by him. And then here you have Kyrie, who is expressing his beliefs, his religious freedoms, and Kareem is laying into him and calling him an idiot and downing him and not supporting him. And I think Black people have to learn that sometimes, even if you disagree, sometimes it's better to be quiet. Don't pile on your brother and make things even worse for him, because he's going to already catch enough shrapnel. If you feel like he's making a mistake, why don't you call him up and give him some advice? I'm sure, someone of Kareem's stature, if he was to reach out to Kyrie, he would listen to him. He would definitely take his call and receive from him. But when you go out and you write articles and you just blasting, you drive that wedge even further between the wisdom of the old guard and the younger players. And so I'm disappointed in that. I'm disappointed because really I feel like Shaq and Barkley spearheaded a lot of this punishment, a lot of this backlash with their comments on TNT demanding that he be suspended. And I'm like, Barkley, you of all people,
yeah,
you threw a guy through a glass window. You spit on somebody. You got DUIs. You beat up mascots. You've done everything it is to do.
He didn't want to be a role model.
And now didn't say I'm not a role model. And now you are leading the charge on railroading the guy for resharing for a link. He didn't comment or anything on it. So I'm disappointed in a lot of the guys that I looked up to growing up for their take on it, and it's just and the irony of it is I'm not a huge Kyrie fan. I've got on Kyrie about not playing, but when it comes down to it, some things are bigger than basketball, and this right here is every Black man has experienced that moment to where you feel like they're trying to put you in your place. And that's what we're seeing. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
Yeah.
Eric's muted.
Okay. Come on in, E.
Unmute yourself, Eric.
Take me out. Okay. I agree with both of you. And one thing that we have in common, again, simply, Rod, what you just said at the last part, as a Black man in America, and you mentioned a word 15 minutes ago, emasculated. It happens every day when someone is trying to downtrod us, put us down. We can't say this, we can't say that. And when we do, we are the angry Negro or the angry Black man. It's sad. It's sad that we have to feel that way, where that type of talk come from. It's depressing. It's disheartening. It's a way of taking away your courage or your fight. When in essence, in many cases, we've done nothing wrong. You know, it's amazing to me that I remember Tiger Woods apologizing, right, to his family, friends, and the golf community. And now it seems that Kyrie Irving is asked to do the same thing before he can be readmitted. You know, and I believe Kyrie is going to come back in the NBA because he can simply play basketball. And the bottom line of this is coming back to money, for the people that owns the teams. It's kind of sad though, on the take right here, Kyrie does have an attitude that he knows everything. Yeah. First of all, he's too young to know everything. What is he, 30 years old? I don't care whether he's black or white. You're 30 years old. You don't know everything. And there's the word being used now, his platform. Okay, here's your platform. We all have platforms, okay? But when we use them, how we use them. Maybe, Kyrie, you want to just start with your community, and rise on up rather than trying to blurt out to the world. I mean, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, right? TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, and other forms have got many people in trouble, right? I would hate to see those three platforms that people use now back in my day. Oh my goodness. And man, I sound like I'm incriminating myself. Some of the things I may have said or done. But if you have a platform, you got to understand too how to use it, when to use it, what to say and what not to say. It's not saying shut up because nobody's listening at you or because you are wrong, but people are going to believe what they want to believe. People are going to do what they want to do. And when he posted what I heard you mention, Amazon, the movie description on Amazon film says uncovers the true identity of children of Israel by proving the true identity of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and the sons of Ham. Well, you know what? See, the reading of that does not fit into what America is used to as a Christian nation. Why wasn't it said Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Well, see, that's when we start getting into different works right there. Find out what Islam, Judaism, and Christianity has covered up for centuries in regard to the true biblical identity of the so-called Negro in this movie, packed with tons of research. Okay. Who says that they are right?
Exactly.
So, in a way, Kyrie is right. In a way, Kyrie is wrong. But I would suggest to him, in using his platform, that he doesn't have to necessarily collect his information from a movie and get it out there to start more turmoil that's on these social platforms. Yes, because he studied. Yes, because, maybe he think also because he went to Duke University. Maybe because he think he was so talented as an athlete, he can play 1 year and go to the NBA, be successful. And as many pundits say, he thinks he's smarter than that. And sometimes he gives off that attitude. Many times people don't like people that have this attitude or arrogance, what some people say, that a person may know everything. But, yes. But this, Rod, you mentioned something early on. You said society is bigger than Kyrie. And you're absolutely right. In this world today, right? Dude, yes, everything is a big deal. Just think about this. If you were to say, did you go to vote? People will say, oh, he must be a Democrat because he's black. He would never ask if you voted today. Oh, what'd you do today? Oh, don't forget to vote. Oh, he must be a Democrat. Or people will say to me, oh, look at you. Oh, well, you look well. Look how you rose up. People that don't even know me. And I'm trying to figure out, where did I rise to? What did I do? What else do you know about me, right? Insinuation and putting people in their own box of where, oh gosh, he looks like, or he said this, he did that, or he think he's somebody, or what does he know? Or like I said by Kyrie, what does he know because he's 30 years old? What does he know? because he went to Duke. Who cares about his platform? I'm not saying just shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's the hypocrisy in everything. You know, we can't have it both ways. After the George Floyd thing and all the players came together and it was Black Lives Matter and we stick together, everybody was saying, yeah, let your voices be heard. Lift your voices up. Speak up. We want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since I don't agree with you, shut up. You know,
one thing that Shaq said, he said, I hate that we have to sit up here and talk about something that divides basketball. And again, when we hear Shaq and Barkley talk, again, these are guys that since they've been 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and they didn't know it, but they never had to live in the world that you, Rod, and you, 411, and myself have to live in. Mm-hmm. So they don't really have a scope. I don't care how much money they give to charities and communities that they have. Okay, they never had to live in the world that most people have to live in. Charles Barkley, Shaq, gosh, they haven't seen some of the things that we that we have seen or will ever see. And you know, certain things that they don't know.
Yeah, and you know what, E and Rod also, and I'll go ahead and say this on air. You know, I haven't seen it yet, so I haven't watched the movie yet, and I wonder if they watched the movie yet. And I wonder if a lot of people has actually watched the movie or actually tried to research what Kyrie beliefs are about this situation, and then make an opinion on it. You know what I mean? So
that brings me to a very, very crucial point about understanding how the media plays games. Okay, they'll use vague terms. He was anti-Semitic. Well, what's an example? What exactly did Kyrie say? Oh, well, they'll move the goalposts. He retweeted a link that had anti-Semitic things in it. Okay, well, what are the anti-Semitic things that's in the movie? Oh, where there was a quote by Hitler that wasn't true. Okay, well, what was that quote? We haven't heard any specifics from this movie. We haven't heard any specifics from Kyrie. There are no specifics. It's just this movie is not part of the agenda. It's not what we believe. You know, it should be said, and you know, the hell with it, basically. And it's and to me, you got to be careful about that, because one thing about the media, when they got you, and they will give you all the details. But if it's something that they're not really vetted in and there's some BS, you will not hear details. They will use very general words, generalities. And this whole story has been nothing but generalities. I haven't heard any specifics as to what exactly is anti-Semitic. You know, and I've even had a conversation with someone that says, well, just the mere fact that he says that Black people are the true Jews, well, that is anti-Semitic. I said, well, let me ask you something. Do you support transgender people? He said, yes. I said, well, so you okay with the man saying, I'm a woman? Yes. Well, why can't you be okay with Kyrie saying, I'm a Black Jew? If you can accept that, why can't you accept the other? They just look dumbfounded. But you know, and that's and like I say, it's just a lot of hypocrisy in this whole story and this whole fiasco. And then, you know, which brings me to, you know, the coach situation in Udoka. Because of all this, I've heard someone says, well, you shouldn't bring in Udoka. They already got enough heat. And now you're gonna bring in Udoka, like, you know, he's a pariah for having consensual sex. Like that's never been done before. You know, they're treating Udoka like he's raped somebody. That wasn't the case. He would be in jail. You know, so it's just, and I also want to point out to how Udoka, if you pay attention, once again, media spin. You had an owner in Phoenix that was doing all kind of vulgar stuff, had all kind of scandal. Udoka replaced him in the media. Udoka became the forefront in the media. Udoka became the face of workplace inappropriate behavior. But the owner Sarver, he's faded back into the shadows. Nobody talks about him anymore. Those are the things that I'm talking about. Those are the things. I mean, and then when you look at Jalen, you look at Jalen Rose, he has to apologize for simply asking the question. Well, you put Udoka names out there. How come the girl that he was with, how come her name isn't out there? They cut the camera and immediately came right back and made Jalen Rose apologize on the spot.
Yeah.
Again, it's that further emasculation of Black men that I'm seeing, and it has to be called out, and it's a problem.
Let me throw something in here, which is along this line in a different way. When the Phoenix Suns owner made his comments, right, disparaging females, women, and using the N-word, right, and Chris Paul found out about
exposing himself too. Make sure you keep that. He exposed himself
and
to
exposed
another,
himself.
you know, and somehow Udoka is the face of inappropriate work behavior.
Right. But Chris Paul, I only heard that Chris Paul said, I was shocked. So that's all we heard what Chris Paul said, at least all I heard. Now we know LeBron James said something about his best friend's owner, but from my understanding, all I heard was from Chris Paul was, I was shocked. And Chris Paul is a very vocal, former president of the Basketball Players Association, right? But only thing that I heard Chris Paul say, or heard that he said was, I was shocked. Mm-hmm. What do you think about those mere comments from a superstar basketball, an elite player, a future Hall of Famer?
I think that was a calculated response, because you got to understand the history of Chris Paul. He led the charge in getting Donald Sterling out of the league. So once you get one out, you don't want to be the guy that every team you go to, you getting owners out of there.
And actually, that's the man too that gave him a contract that was really suspect. Did Chris really deserve this last extension a couple of years ago? Is Chris really worth that amount of money?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, different strokes, different folks, different situations, and different level of thinking, right? And he got his money, so he's not gonna say too much about that man, right?
Yeah, and that could very well be a big factor in it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
go ahead.
Because it will have you thinking, well, man, you know what? This show may go all over the world. Somebody might pull up Mr.411 and see me on here and heard I was talking about Chris Paul. It'll get back with him on a Snapchat piece or some social media. Chris Paul may send his henchmen to get me. So again, the platform that we use, we got to be very careful, and we need to understand all these photos that people put up, how they're having a good time in Boca Raton or Cabo. You better be wary, because people might not just be thinking about breaking into your house when you're gone, right? But they, in today's society, they'll come to your door and shoot you or kill you just because of something that you said. And they could pick us up right now. And we're only telling the truth. We're only being the right kind of media, just raising the questions and giving mild softball understandings, throwing it out.
Very
Be aware
good
of your platform.
Very good, gentlemen. All right. Way to go. We had to go in overtime a little bit, but we wanted to make sure we get that information out. I think it was vital. Shout out to Hot Tub Tony. He gave major props to you gentlemen for your candor, being in all your great comments there today. And I gotta get you back in here so we can get back on to week 4 of the NBA. Make sure we get on tap there. But yes, we had some couple topics we wanted to make sure that we hammered in there. And so yes, Hot Todd Tone, we thank you, and again, your comments are much appreciated. And yes, Adam Silver is setting a dangerous precedent. And again, we're going to get into a deeper dive of that on another episode as well.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna hit it for now. We're gonna come back on the other side of this. Zach was in the building, and we're gonna go over our NFL our mid-season review. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you.
Peace.
Hi, I'm Latanya. I'm the owner of Heavily Spun Mobile. I've been in this business 19 years plus. If you're in dire need of a massage for achy muscles, back, neck, shoulder, hip, legs, feet, come on down and schedule an appointment with me. You can't go wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking care of you because no one's going to be able to take care of you. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, and that's in Building 8, and that's in Macon, Georgia. Again, you can go online to Heavily Spun Mobile to schedule your future appointment, or you can reach out to me at 478-747-9231. I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. We thank Heavenly Spun Mobile for supporting the Sportz Brothers through and through. We thank Latanya.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Latanya.
Absolutely. And Zach, welcome to the building, man.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I see you have your NFL gear on, and that's what we're going to jump on next. Again, shout out to Hot Tub Tony, a loyal follower. We love Hot Tub. He has a lot of comments. He doesn't hold back himself. And so we definitely appreciate
that. Is correct. Thank you, Hot Tub.
And what a name, Hot Tub Tony. I can't wait. I need to get me a hot tub, and when the weather gets better, and spend my summer in the hot tub. And not alone, by the way.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, Zach, it's time to cover the NFL, man. We talked about it in the beginning when we gave our predictions in the preseason, and we said, hey, when we get to the midway point or close to that midway point around week 9, we was going to dive into the awards. We're going to give out our mid-season awards, if you will. So here we go. Let's first start off with our power rankings at this point, Zach.
All right.
And I'll let you go first with your 6 through 10. And we'll get the producers to get all that up there for you. But 6 through 10, we'll start that way, and then you can wrap it up with your top 5.
Oh, well, let me get my list then. Give me just a second. I believe I had the Jets at 10, which would make one of our colleagues very happy.
You have them at 10, okay.
I thought I did. Well, sorry, I did not. That won't make our colleague happy. I have a Minnesota Vikings at 10.
There you go.
Bengals at 9, Seahawks at 8, Dolphins at 7, and Buffalo Bills at 6.
All right, man. Buffalo at 6. Okay. Crucial loss there, in your opinion, for last week. And then here's your top 5.
Yes, and I'm sure this will make some people happy. Definitely Cowboy fans and my old friend from back in elementary, Mike Johnson, will be very happy about the 49ers being at 4. Baltimore, Eagles, and then Kansas City. Much of my list is dictated on my confidence level in the actual quarterback of the team, coach of the team, and what type of playing style they have as far as will that type of playing style actually be successful and translate. I'm not just looking at the records that you have, but what is it that you can do? An example would be Baltimore. Like, everybody would love to say, hey, Baltimore's playing well, Baltimore's playing great, everything. The one thing I haven't seen from Baltimore, and I'll throw Philadelphia in there also, what happens when their quarterbacks get behind and the other team knows that you have to throw the ball? Will they be able to get you back in the game? Somebody like Patrick Mahomes, I've seen him have the ability to do that. Even though I have Cincinnati at 9, I've seen Joe Burrow just last year at Kansas City get his team back into a game doing that. Of course, now the hard part is for a lot of these individuals, they can't prove that until they get put in that situation or you get to the playoffs. I would guess that Philadelphia is saying we don't plan on being behind in any games where our quarterback has to throw the ball to get us back into it, which going pretty well for them since they have the 1 seed. They have a good track for that. But the Ravens, on the other hand, they're probably going to have to win 1 or 2 games on the road since things aren't, since they lost 3 games that they were up on. And, you get on the road in any of these sports at the top of the leagues, you may have to do that. So just something to look at. But so far, so good. We'll see how this shakes out as we get to the next quarter, because I think we lost some more coaches. So there's probably going to be a few more changes before we get to the finish line with this thing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mr. 411, we'll 6 through 10. As you can see, I kind of pushed my number 10 team down a little bit off the screen, a little bit, but Seattle Seahawks, I have them in the top 10.
I'm shocked you have the Jets above Seattle.
Yeah, I do. I have them slightly above Seattle. You can give a take in there. Well, Seattle did lose to the Falcons.
What does that mean?
And they also lost to the Saints. So I'm looking at the Jets. They really are impressing me, even despite some of the injury with Breece Hall at running back. And yes, a little bit of a sway there by beating Buffalo as well. So, I'll just give them the tiebreaker there. But 9-10 is close. Tennessee have them at 8, Minnesota at 7, and the 49ers at 6. They definitely can get higher if I can just get more trust at the quarterback position. Sometimes Jimmy G, has that tendency to turn the ball over in games that you don't want him to. So that's why I have them outside of the top 5. But man, picking up McCaffrey is going to be huge for them. And they have strength at receiver. They have strong receivers and athletic tight end. And again, with McCaffrey in the backfield, it gives them one of the best backfields in the game. Now, rounding out the top 5, the Ravens, you already talked about them. And that's why I have them at 5 when it comes to the top 5, is because, and I admit to this, their offense hasn't been too impressive over the last couple of weeks to say that, but they are winning. And so I still have them in the top 5. Dallas, number 4. The Chiefs at 3. And you may say why, but I'm not going to be totally swayed with the loss to the Jets. Buffalo, if they had won that game against the Jets, it would be a totally different story. And I'm not going to just take them out on the one game there. But Kansas City and Buffalo, they'll probably be in that 2-3 slot most of the season for me. And then at the top, you have a team that was 0 in the L column. Have to go with the Eagles on that one. Some may say their schedule may have fell into place too, but despite all that, they have a 0 in the loss column. And I find it hard in the NFL. If you have 0 in the loss column, I'm going to have to put you in the 1 slot. So, in the words of Ric Flair, to beat the man, you got to beat the man. Somebody's going to have to beat the Eagles, and then we can consider them in the 1 or 2 slot. So that's my top 10, Zach.
Okay. I expect some changes because Josh Allen is injured and or what have you. That is probably why we give the Eagles maybe 1 slight advantage. A lot of the problems with NFL teams right now is they invest so deeply into the quarterback. If he's somebody they believe is a franchise guy, and once that quarterback gets injured, or maybe you don't have the right pieces around them, go see Green Bay, everything else may fall apart. So when you build that way, you really are hoping and praying that your QB shows up every day to work without any issues.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Big Fish Little Boat. He says Eagles all the way. Jalen Hurts is his MVP. And we're going to talk about the MVP in a little bit, Big Fish Little Boat. So we'll see if one of us maybe agree with you by the end of this show. And yes, shout out again to Hot Tub, Big Fish Little Boat. All right, for hanging there with us, Zach. Next topic.
Well, I'm gonna stop Hot Tub right now. Just say, but like that's all nice, Hot Tub, but I'm old enough to remember there have been plenty of 1 seeds in the NFL, and just because you have a great schedule and just because you undefeated, it's one thing to play regular season football. It's another thing to play playoff football. Just like I'll go very quickly on Buffalo. Buffalo's running game is their quarterback. Last I checked, they hit you in the NFL. If they gonna use their quarterback as a running game, if they end up getting a 1 seed, which I still believe the 1 seed, they have to play 2 games and then you got to play a Super Bowl. Exposing your quarterback to hits can be a recipe for you not to succeed, because if you lose him, what happens in the playoffs? Then you got to look at what type of offense do you run. There's going to be inclement weather. Not the same sport in sense of you have professionals and then you have amateurs, but Ohio State at Northwestern could barely score because you had winds on. So I hear you, but just because you got a 0 don't mean anything. And I also remember there was a team that was 18-0, I believe, played at the Super Bowl, quote unquote, had the greatest quarterback ever. Their offensive line couldn't block the Giants' defensive line. That team has scored, 30-plus points every damn game, only scored 17 points. And even their quarterback laughed, where he said, we only going to score 17 points. Why, yes, you are. Only going to score 17 points. So it's a totally different game, but I hear you. Yeah. I understand. And that 0 is good. They're beating the people in front of them. But last I checked, they don't give out trophies in the regular season either.
Yep.
So they got to keep it up.
That's right.
Good job.
They definitely have to do that. And but for now, at this point, I guess that's what we're on right now.
Oh, well, I like that. I like their team. So if you tell me because of their team, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we got to look deeper than just the 0. They have a well-constructed team. I will still give them that as of right now.
All right, Zach. Well, who's your most disappointing team?
Oh, that's easy. The Raiders. And it just keeps getting worse. Like it's unbelievable. And I remember coming into this season, everybody said kind of unequivocally, Devontae Adams was the best wide receiver in the NFL. I don't want to say that he's been exposed because he's not with Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers ain't having a great season either. But there's a stark contrast between what is going on with Devontae Adams with the Raiders, and then you look at what is happening with AJ Brown with the Eagles, and then you have Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins. So a lot of disappointment there. They gave their quarterbacks some money, they gave their tight end money, they brought in not McDaniels. What's his damn name again? Out of it is McDaniels, out of New England as the OC. He's supposed to be this genius or whatever. I mean, they could have did all this with the guy that was the interim guy last year. They got him to the playoffs. So very sad.
Yep. All right, that's true. Guess we'll see come playoff time. Yeah, definitely. I mean, playoff time and now 2 different points. But yeah, we definitely gonna see. And yes, the Packers are disappointed.
That must have been Jalen. He's not happy with what I said about the Eagles.
Hey, and look, the Packers are disappointed as well. That could be a good choice as well. But for me, my disappointing team is the Los Angeles Rams. And the reason why I have them as my most disappointing team is one thing with the Packers. Yeah, they're disappointing. But the Rams, man, when you have guys like this, you know what I'm saying, on your team, you know, Donald and Ramsey, you know, you still have Stafford in there. And I have my thing about Stafford, but still you have him, you have Cooper Kupp. Like this team should be leading the division that they're in right now. You know, they should be. And just a case in point, if you just go back and watch the game this past Sunday, a team that is the defending Super Bowl champs, right? Losing that type of game in that type of format, that type of way, again, that is showing who they are. And I think Bill Parcells back in the day, legendary head coach, said, "You are what your record says you are." And
absolutely.
And right now they're proving that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the Los Angeles Rams as the most disappointing team. Well, Zach, we went with disappointment, and now we need to, you know, get to something a little more positive. Okay, let's go into the most surprising team. Who surprised you, Zach?
Well, for me, and this will make Lacey very happy. The Jets, I believe their over-under of wins this year was 5.5, and they're already at 6. And I'll say they've been winning in spite of getting up and down play from the quarterback. And I believe you mentioned it earlier that they lost their running back, who was having a phenomenal rookie season, powering them. And the win against the Bills is a surprising win. I think when they lost the first game, everybody believed it was going to be the same old Jets. I know I didn't. What did Robert Saleh say? I'm taking receipts, or we're taking receipts. So far, so good. Don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but this is a good building point for them. So definitely a surprise.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. The Jets, man, they're showing it, man. They're showing true grit. Their victory over Buffalo, that's a strong victory, and their defense is looking good, man. Their defense is looking good. So I actually, you know, I like that. I like that pick there. You know, but you know which way I'm going with this one.
Of course.
Yeah. So going with a team that I'm familiar with, you know, slightly familiar with this team. They might even be my favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going with them as the most surprising team. And it pretty much is self-explanatory. You know what I mean? I'm one of those. Go back and watch our previous episodes. You know, I did say, man, Seattle, I just want them to beat Denver, lose the rest of their games, and let's draft high next year, you know, and rebuild, you know, and I think we're doing it on the fly right now. So, man,
yes,
you know, and so with the nice draft pick at the, you know, running back position, Walker III is now, at least these last couple of weeks, is showing you that he can be a franchise running back. And for those who remember, you know, Sean Alexander's and Marshawn Lynch, and then I can go ahead and rewind the tape even further. We can go back to Derek Fenner. We can go back to Kurt Warner, you know, and not the Kurt Warner that most people think about, the quarterback, but Kurt Warner from Penn State, running back, Seattle Seahawks. Those are some great backs. And by the way, John L. Williams, he was a great running back / fullback. You know, and then we'll throw in Max Strong. I remember him from
Max Strong.
He was in Columbus, Georgia. Brookstone graduate, Georgia Bulldog, and a longtime Seahawk. But yes, so he's carrying on a tradition at the running back position for our Seahawks. And Geno Smith, man, I mean, his completion percentages are high. and he is actually throwing the ball down the field. He's in sync with his receivers, and it just looks like the team. They just look like a team. Look at this picture again, Zach. They just look like they're enjoying themselves as a team, and there's something there about the addition by subtraction, if you will.
Yes, I'll let you talk about the why on that. They're enjoying themselves more than maybe past years.
Well, the quarterback that was there last year, and I still have his jersey, Russell Wilson. I think like whatever was going on there, maybe about between him and the coach, about maybe opening up the offensive game and things like that. I just think that and it works for in life. Sometimes it's time to move on, and I just I think the departure has kind of opened things up, and but mainly with Geno Smith really having control of the team, I think that's really the key this year.
Now I am going to say you're talking like a fan, because you did mention the offensive tackle they got at number 9 that is blocking for that running back, just coming in, and the fact that you ain't got to mention him is the best thing you can say about an offensive lineman, because
yes,
that means he's out there doing his job. And they actually have 2 rookie offensive linemen out there at the tackle spots that you would say can be the most important spots of the line. So we don't want to get Calvin mad at us.
Well,
but they're hitting on all cylinders this year. And I would say, I hate to say, I'm not going to say bad apples with the players that they had, but I'll say that some individuals got too big for their britches, moved on from it, and now you have Seattle has a culture that they want to kind of instill, and we can see it. And I like what you said too. They're rebuilding on the fly, because now I think we mentioned this last week. I'll say again, Geno Smith might be, if you're lucky, he's going to be Matt Hasselbeck, that a guy that kind of took that route, or if you're really lucky, he's going to be Rich Gannon, who led the Raiders to the Super Bowl, and I want to say won MVP after years of kind of treading water in Minnesota and other places.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good examples there. And man, yes, also defense too. Kobe Bryant and Woolen. Those are some excellent corners. Some young, excellent corners, and that's kind of like, dare I say, that's kind of bringing back a little bit of that Legion of Boom to a degree. Improving at the defensive end too. So we'll see what they do with Tom Brady this week. So I'm ready to see that chess match. But yes, comfortably leading the division right now.
I believe.
Yeah, leading the division right now, but also getting a little help too. With again, most disappointed team, Rams, that helps us out. Arizona, they're heading down. They could have been a disappointing team on this list. And so that's kind of opening the door for us right now. And definitely we'll see how it goes for the second half of the season.
I'm going to go back to what Hot Tub Tony said about the Eagles having a 0. Look, Seahawks don't have to apologize for anything. They out there winning the games they supposed to win, and the other teams in the division ain't. That's all you can do.
Yes, sir. All right. The comeback player of the midseason for Zach is?
Well, my comeback player is Saquon Barkley. And it probably goes without saying he's helped the Giants get to one of their better seasons in years. And I don't think much of your cousin at quarterback. So if he keeps this up, they're at the top of the standings. Up towards the top of the standings in the East, up towards the top of the standings when it comes to the playoffs. So they have a shot. I'm not sure if they win a game when they get to the playoffs, but kind of just like the Jets, just getting there is going to be good. Like, that's a step in the right direction. So good for Saquon, because, like, do they have any receivers that's any good? And that's it. I don't think much of your cousin, though. Your cousin ain't turning over the ball as much this year. So
who is my cousin, Zach?
Daniel Jones.
Oh, okay. Daniel Jones.
I know y'all skin tone don't really look like that much, but your cousin is playing much better ball after he got his ass chewed that first game of the season for that red zone interception.
Wow, there it is. Okay, well, Lacey Dawson would definitely like that. She likes to hear good things about the Giants. So, man, you giving good takes there for the Jets and now the Giants. All right.
I am. I'm in a joyous mood.
Let's see. All right. Well, again, I'm giving some more Seahawk love here. Go figure. But I have Geno Smith as my comeback player of the year. And man, his completion percentage of 73% is, that's a comebackian. I'm making this word up. It's a comebackian move.
It is an appropriate word. Good choice for him.
Yeah, because who would have thought it? You know what I mean? Who would have thunk it? And it's just crazy.
Nobody.
That he's doing
like
it.
We just gonna say nobody. Like,
yeah,
it ain't no way Seattle thought it. Well, you'd have to ask Carroll because maybe they did think it.
Well, we have to get the truth serum out and see if he would say that. I think he did think that Geno would at least hold the fort together for a season. But again, he leads the league, and so that's impressive there. And then 8 yards per passing attempt, that's impressive as well. And so I have him listed as as my comeback player of the midseason. And generally it's for players who miss a season, maybe was injured, worked their way back into the league, or maybe are out the league for whatever reason, and now they're back. And so it got me to thinking just for a second, Zach, and this is why I made that decision. The National Football League Comeback Player of the Year award refers to a number of awards that are given to a National Football League player who has shown perseverance.
Yes,
right?
Sir. Good job.
In overcoming adversity. And I think that he's done that, so that's why I have Geno there.
I don't argue with your decision. And I'd say comeback player of the year is probably like the NBA doing the most improved player. They just have that. I think probably same kind of thing. They just have different titles for it.
All right. Let's get to what's next, Zach.
All right.
Man, we got all these awards we're giving out. Maybe one day when we get the budget up a little bit, we'll have some actual trophies that we can send these players.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we'll work on that one day. All right. Coach of the mid-season. Zach, the award goes to who?
Well, I think we have the same individual. Hope I say his name correctly. Was it Nick Sirianni?
That sounds good enough for me.
And I'll give my little spiel. But I'm gonna tell you this. It's kind of like how you said with Geno. You didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Who saw this coming with the Eagles? He has Jalen Hurts. To me, is playing now. When you start talking about MVP. He's not my MVP, but Jalen Hurts is playing good system football. He's doing what he's supposed to do. The offensive line is outstanding. Defensive line is outstanding. They have 2 corners that can go out there and lock down your receivers. They have been very impressive. And I'm not one that's going to begrudge their schedule and talk about this because they're playing professional individuals that come out there and hit you in the mouth. As we saw when they played last Thursday against the Texans. The Texans are pros and gave them problems. So he's doing a good job keeping them in this. And I'm not so sure everybody thought he was the right pick when he took over the job, but so far so good. So congratulations to Coach Sirianni.
Absolutely. I mean, couldn't have said any better, Zach. So I'm going, I'm looking at an undefeated team here, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't get it. And so they're doing well on, special teams, offense, defense.
Yep.
They're just looking like they're ready to go. The only thing I will say is, that their run defense was looking a little shaky against Houston. But I mean, we can find something on every team. The Eagles are flying high.
Well, they not the 80-49ers now.
Correct.
or
85 Bears.
Yeah, they not any of them guys now.
Yeah.
At least not yet.
Yeah. But yeah, so as a lot of Eagles fans will say, fly Eagles, fly. So yeah, that's what they're doing right now. All right. Well, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we did not, look at what our, each one of us had, so there, bam, we land on the same one at that point. So there you have it. All right.
I think our sports IQ is fairly high in most areas. So some of this stuff you don't really have to think about.
Exactly. We do get high, Zach. All right. Defensive rookie of the mid-season. The defensive rookie. All right, I like that. We're talking a little defense.
Well, I'll let you go ahead and announce this one because I believe once again we have the same individual.
Oh, wow. Look at there. Well, I'm gonna let the producers get it on up there and then we can go from there. So Ahmed Sauce Gardner, the defensive back of the New York Jets, Lacey's New York Jets. Sauce Gardner.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure people thought his first name was actually Sauce, but no, it is Ahmad.
Yeah. There you go. Inside information right there. Congratulations to Ahmad for winning our midseason defensive rookie of the year so far, midseason.
Yep. And I'll just say, well, he may not have all of the counting stats, though I do think he leads the NFL in pass deflections. You can see the impact that he's had on the defense. To go along with the corner on the opposite side of him has done well too. But the Jets, another team that hit well on the draft picks.
Absolutely. You know, the more I think about it, it's like, man, the Jets and Seahawks are kind of like in that same type of trajectory. You know, good draft, remodeling, revitalizing themselves, and playing well. So yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. Again, you know, the 13 passes deflected, leading the league. You know, you leading the league and you're a rookie. If you have leading the league in your, in your sentence, you're doing something special. So yeah, he well deserved.
And I was gonna say if the Jets wanted to make one move, maybe to get them over the top, and this would seem like a Jets move because in this one place it looks like it might be over. Trade some things to Green Bay to bring in Aaron Rodgers and see what he could do for you as a QB.
Wow. You know what the irony is if that happens, right?
Yes, I do. He'd almost followed Brett Favre's career to a T.
Exactly.
Because he's got the other parts down.
He definitely does. All right, man. Offensive rookie of the mid-season.
All right. I think we're a little different on this one, but that's okay.
All right. Zach, you have a New Orleans Saint.
I do. I have Chris Olave, and this might be a little self-serving. So the calculator might not be too happy about it. But I did think when he was drafted that he would be able to help New Orleans. I'm kind of shocked he's been this productive for them because I would have thought, their other wide receivers would be counted on more. But as of right now, it looks like he's going to get 1,100 plus yards receiving. And the win total isn't where it should be, but he and look, his partner up in the Jets, Garrett Wilson could have been a candidate for him. So those have been two really good players to come out of Ohio State. But right now I have Olave. We'll see how it goes for him in this second half of the season.
All right. And the player that I have for the we just did that, right? Offensive rookie.
Yes, offensive.
Okay, so offensive rookie on my end is the running back for the Houston Texans. I'm going with Damon Pierce, running back, and man, I wanted to go with Olave, and again, he's having a rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year season. There's no doubt about it. But I just felt like I wanted to go with Pierce, and it's circumstantial for me. Like he's in Houston, and yes, they have a decent offensive line. It's solid, but the quarterback position, is extremely questionable at best.
Correct. I go skill players outside. Look, and offensive skill players, even though the one wide receiver is throwing a fit, Cooks, but I would say they are questionable too. So good pick.
Yes. And so with that said, just kind of going off that, it's like, okay, I will lean towards Pierce at this point. So it's close because I definitely had Olave on my list. And again, even with Pierce, he only has 3 touchdowns, but he has 678 rushing yards and he's 4.6 per carry. And so that, to me, that's impressive there for a rookie. And he's basically carrying the load, and he's proven that he can be at this point a foundational piece for the team in Houston.
Agreed. Now, I'd say probably both of these guys, if Breece Hall wasn't hurt, he would be the pick. And I won't be shocked if we get to the second quarter or maybe end of the year that, especially with both of these teams kind of having a losing record, if Seattle keeps going the way that they're going, that Kenneth Walker could end up being the offensive rookie of the year.
That is quite possible if things keep rolling. All right, we talked about offense and the defense, rookies. Now we're going to get into the non-rookies.
Okay.
We're going to switch over there, and we're going to go with defense again. All right, so defensive player of the mid-season so far, Zach, it is your time to announce your selection.
Well, I think once again we have the same individual, Micah Parsons. And
yes.
Look, this is kind of easy from my standpoint. He the Dallas defense in general has been very surprising and picked it up from last year. Like, they have been very, very good. Probably if this team is going to win, if they're going to get to where they want to get to, which is a Super Bowl, they're going to have to lean on their defense. And I'd say it probably starts with him that you got to identify number 11, because if they can get ahead of you and make you get into throwing situations, and even when you're not in known throwing situations, he really gets after your quarterback. And that's kind of about it from now. We'll see how that plays out, but definitely he is earning his paycheck in Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. LeBron James even said it. He said that Micah Parsons is a dog. He said he's a dog. That's how he said it.
Well, that must mean it's true then. If
that
LeBron is
gotta mean it's true, Zach. 21 solo tackles, 8 sacks. To add on to everything else you said, he definitely impact, and so we both agree there on the Cowboy. All right, so we got that under control. Let's get to the next category, and it's now, this will be fun right here. This is going to be fun. The offensive player of the mid-season, and we have two different choices here. So
why, yes, we do.
We definitely do. But they have something in common. But you know what?
That they do.
Yeah. So according to this list here, I guess I'm gonna go, right? So
feel free.
All right. So I have Patrick Mahomes as the offensive player of the midseason. I think that in many ranks, a lot of people have the Chiefs, either first or second, somewhere in there, top 3 in the league, if you want to stretch it. And a lot of that is because of Patrick Mahomes. And so, when he has 21 touchdowns, that's a lot of touchdowns for the midway point, 2,605 yards and a 103.6 passer rating. And he's getting this done. And so, and also he's spreading the ball around more this year. And so I have him, Patrick Mahomes, as my offensive player of the mid-season. What say you, Zach?
And I'll say first that great choice, Mahomes. Mahomes is a great QB. He goes out there, plays well, and he is keeping Kansas City in this. And to a degree, if you look at what he's doing versus what Aaron Rodgers is doing, and I know he still has Kelsey, but this is kind of what Green Bay was hoping that Aaron Rodgers would still be able to do with the offense. So understand, I just happen to be picking the guy that just left him as MVP. And for me, I would say this, and you laugh and tease sometimes about me being a corner back in the day or whatever, but I wasn't half bad.
I meant that, Zach. I meant that.
Well, I wasn't half bad. And these type of guys, or the guys I hated to guard. Like, everybody thinks the big, tall receivers are issues, but a lot of times those guys can't transition in and out of routes, can't take off. They need that long speed. Tyreek Hill is a damn jitterbug, and you have to account for him. if you don't have the safety over time, like if you're going to guard him one-on-one, you better be on your game because he is going to fly. He's already got 1,100 plus yards. Looks like he may get 2,000. Now, I'm not going to get all of that 2,000 with the extra game that they have, but he's being very productive at 122 yards a game. I think more so you can see the effects. Tua looks like a good quarterback. Now, the problem with this is I hope Miami doesn't give Tua a big contract because Tua is thriving because he has him. But then Tyreek Hill has even helped Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is averaging 17 yards a catch now, whereas last year he was less than 10.
Right.
And Jalen Waddle already had 6 touchdowns, and he only had 6 for all last year. So Tyreek Hill, I don't know how you would classify him if you look at it, but I know this. You have to account for number 10 when he's on the damn field, because if you don't, he's going to be hitting his damn head on the goalpost. And that's just a fact. And I like the effect he's had on Miami. Now, I'm not going to give Miami put them down that they're going to win the Super Bowl or whatever, but they should make the playoffs. And what Tyreek Hill is doing in Miami is kind of what people, I think, thought Devontae Adams would do with the Raiders.
Yeah. Elevate your squad. Yeah.
Yes. Give your QB easy coverage reads or easier coverage reads so they can complete the ball.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Zach, that's the offensive player of the midseason. And we're down to our final category as far as our awards go. And then after that, we'll talk about, give our brief second half predictions. But now we roll into the final award, which is the most valuable player of the midseason. So the MVP of the midseason goes to, who is it, Zach?
Well, for me, it's Tyreek Hill. And it's for all the things I said before. When Tua gets this big-ass contract, he's getting it because he was throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. And it's just plain and simple. He, as I said, this would be one of these things where we talk about the all 22 and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You just have to go watch and see what type of coverages they do. And then he's still been able to produce, because I'm pretty sure they know that you're going to try to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. And yet they still been able to get the ball to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So he's been able to be, I was just going to say the fact he's been able to be productive without Mahomes, like I can say I'm shocked because I thought his production was going to go down.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, how, they were on the same team and they were both effective. Now yes. they're on separate teams and they're both effective. We both selected Patrick Mahomes.
Two guys back in the day that I know.
Well, yeah, but we both picked Tyreek. You picked Tyreek Hill for your offensive player of the midseason and your MVP, your most valuable player of the midseason. And I selected Patrick Mahomes as the offensive player of the midseason, and I've selected Patrick Mahomes as the MVP. So, man, imagine these guys were on the same team.
Yes. Look, if only they were on the same. But look, it was once Tyreek could get $30 million a year, and as Kansas City has shown that you can still be productive without him. And Kansas City was my number one team, and in part because of this guy. Like if you go back to the Tennessee game, what was it, a 3rd and 19, and he picked up 19. Like he's got to be. And I'm not gonna say he's the slowest quarterback ever, but when he be out there running and everything, it ain't like he's a speed burn. He frustrates me. It reminds me of somebody I used to know way, way back in the day that might try and do stuff like that. We play ball against each other.
Yeah.
And whether it's 3 yards or sometimes 12 yards, it somehow, some way keeps the chains moving. And he's been phenomenal. And I'll say this too. He's one of the QBs that actually kind of, sort of, it's not going to seem like, but I think his $45 million contract is kind of a discount.
Yeah, it looks friendly.
Is allowing, you still have salary cap space to help get other parts around you, which will be good for Kansas City going forward. So you have to give him credit for that too, because he could have just tried to get the, get the whole bag or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that.
Yeah. Way to use some street language there, Zach. Get the bag. But yes. Well, with Mahomes, as you mentioned, and with Hill, maybe Hill left because he was getting the bag, and I think he got a
Yes, he
large bag.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
In Miami. So, they
Oh,
both got paid. They're both excelling and with their respective teams. And again, Patrick Mahomes, we don't have to say it all over again, but I'll say this, that I did find out that his completion percentage hasn't dropped off much, even though he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. He is currently at a 66.4 completion rate. Last season, he was at 66.3. The season before that, 66%. So he's pretty much right there again, spreading the ball around. And like you said about the timely runs, he's averaging around, it looks like here, about 6.5 yards a carry. And so when he does run the ball, which is not as often, but when he does, it's meaningful. And so he's making plays. And I'll just throw this in there. I know Jalen Hurts will probably get MVP considerations at this point as well. But I just think that with Patrick Mahomes, I think with Hurts, it's more of he's part of that system, if you will. And I think that's kind of helping him and what's going on around it, which is nothing wrong with that.
no,
But
not at all.
nothing wrong with that at all. But when it's tied, when it's a close, it's a tie at the base. You go with the runner, and right now I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes because he pretty much, operates that team. He's the true source of their offense right there, and he's showing it. Juju has become a receiver now. Hardman, another one
Valdez Scantling.
yeah, Scantling, MVS is now there stepping up. So it's like
they just got Kadarius Toney from the Giants, who probably feels like he was let out of Alcatraz.
Yeah, and it's all coming because of, coming off the arm of Mahomes. So that's what we have right now. So yeah, good job there, Zach.
Now I will add this about Jalen Hurts, and you'll know this. What Jalen Hurts is probably going to need, if you wanted to kind of fall more on him to be his team, and this is really with all of these quarterbacks to a degree, they got to have their John Elway moment. And when I say John Elway moment, I mean like the drive. They got to have that moment where, like we say that, okay, we need this score, and about John Elway to drive. And then can you do that as a QB? We kind of at least feel like, since Mahomes already has the MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and Super Bowl, that he can do this. And like what was last year, we were 12 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever seconds it was left against Buffalo. He gets them in position to kick a field goal and then win the game. Hurts probably needs something like that. And then once he gets that, then I think you can put it more that it's less system and more him individual in many ways, like what Tom Brady was when he was in New England early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that as long as they keep winning games, he's going to be in a situation where it's got to go down. Yeah. And by the way, speaking of Tom Brady, he just did that this past Sunday. So.
Well, yes, he did. To your
so there you go.
Taylor. And when it happened, I was like, you got to be effing kidding me. I can't believe the Rams lost that game.
Yeah.
But I'll say again, as a Philly fan, I don't want Jalen Hurts to ever have to show me that he is a top quarterback in the NFL. I'd rather be up by 21 points, our offensive line destroying people and our defensive line destroying people. And I think that he's just a game manager and whatever as we win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. All right. What's the one thing you're expecting for the second half of the season?
One thing I expect for the second half. What would be a good thing? I'm going to go with I expect the Dallas Cowboy offense to be far more productive than it's been in the first half. And I expect them to rise up and show that they are the top contender to the Eagles in the NFC.
Wow. All right.
Look, and say it better happen since you give your quarterback $42 million a damn year.
Because it better happen.
Yes, yeah. It better happen.
Man, this is a good question here. I wonder who wrote this question, Zach. All right. Well, the one I'll say this: I'm expecting that my prediction of the Eagles and Philadelphia Eagles and Buffalo Bills to play each other in the Super Bowl, I expect that to stand, and that's what I expect for the rest of the season. I want for the second half of the season, both of those teams to be the number one seeds in their respective conferences, and at that point, that'll give them the pathway to get to that Super Bowl. But we'll see. We'll see how it turn out. But that's what I'm expecting.
Not a bad prediction. I would say if I was a bet man, I would put money that it unless the Eagles go on a swoon, I think it's going to be hard for somebody to beat them in Philadelphia, and I think they'll be the 1 seed with the Buffalo. As I said, when your whole offensive system is built on a quarterback, like one player, he's got to show up every week, and he's got to have his A game every week. Yep. Josh Allen and kind of the Bills in general, they turn the ball over, and that would scare me for playoffs because it's not college where a team can say turn over the ball 2-3 times, but you have such a talent disparity that you're better than who you're going up against. In the NFL, there's a talent gap, but it ain't necessarily that wide. 1 or 2 turnovers, and now all of a sudden you getting a 3-point loss. And Buffalo gives me that feel like losing to the Jets. And nothing wrong with the Jets. I don't want Lacey to throw anything at me, but come on. Like, you can't go lose to the Jets. And even that one they lost to Miami, if you look at some things in there, like when he one-hopped the ball, it's like for as great as Allen is supposed to be, he does things that we fuss at, and when I say we, I kind of mean the media, Lamar Jackson about, and Josh Allen doesn't ever seem to really get fussed at about doing those type of things.
Well, we'll definitely find out, Zach. So we'll see. Hot Todd Tolman said that we had some bold statements there, but we'll see how it all ends up.
Well, he probably likes that we both kind of agree Philadelphia, but I would definitely say Philadelphia's put themselves in a outstanding position as long as they don't have any major injuries. Thursday was standing, and I kind of know what Thursday was. That's that short week game. Philadelphia is very good on their line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively. And I'm kind of old school. If you can be good on the offensive line of scrimmage, and I'm going to give their corner some credit, now, I want to see who's going to score them in the playoffs when they come to Philadelphia to visit them.
Yeah, we will see.
Yes, we will.
All right. Great job again. And, man, we'd like to thank Eric and Rod for the NBA coverage. Great conversation there. Zach, as always, it's been a pleasure. And Mr. 411, we thank everybody for watching and listening. Appreciate all the likes, comments, and hitting that subscribe button and sharing and all that good stuff. Because sharing is caring. So continue to do that.
Never mind. I agree, concur. Sharing is caring.
All right. For Ime Adoka and Zach. Mr. 411.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yes, have a good one. Thank you.